All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining me again this week for Trading with Coach Care. Who is on? Who is on? Who is on? Excellent, excellent. All right, guys. So good night to everyone. Good night to Nakisha, Lana, Marcia, everybody. Where's Paula? Oh, good night, Paula. You know I look for you every class I have. Good night. All right, guys. So today, I know last week we missed the session, but today we're going to continue looking at key levels, looking at patterns, looking at some beautiful setups we have this week, right? So some setups that I am looking at this week is gold, and ZUSD, and knowing especially that we have news tonight for NZD, right? So the first thing I want to do is I want to take you through a typical day that you should have for yourself, right? Excellent, Shanice. Shanice says she's getting good at identifying key levels, right, guys? So majority of you that are on this call should have the notes from previous calls, which is to identify key levels on daily and 4-hour time frames, right? To identify the patterns on the 4-hour and the 1-hour time frames, and look for entry on your minute time frames. So that may be 5-minute, 15-minute, or 30-minute time frames that you look for those entries. All right, so just make sure that you have those notes. So you're looking for key levels on the daily time frame, patterns on the 4-hour and the 1-hour time frame, and then you're looking for your entries on the M5, M15, or M30 time frames. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead now and share my screen. Like I said, I am looking for some movements with gold, right? Gold and ZUSD, UCAD, UCHF, right? GJ. So I'm just gonna let you guys know what I'm gonna go through tonight, right? GJ, and I think AJ is one as well. But we will, as we go through, you would be able to identify what your watch list will be for the week, right? So let's start with the DXY, right? But like I said, today I want you guys to go through a typical day for yourself. So before you start trading, the first thing you should do is check news. I found that a lot of you guys are trading and you're not actually checking to see what news is taking place on that day. So the disadvantage for you is that you will start to enter trade, news happens, it goes against your favor, and then you're blaming different things rather than taking responsibility that you have not fully equipped yourself to take the trade, right? So the first thing you want to do for Forex Factory, okay, Ford says she doesn't know how to interpret the news that I am seeing. Okay, that's fine. We'll help you with that. All right, so Forex Factory, you guys know today is Tuesday. As I mentioned, we have NZD news tonight, right? 9 p.m. Eastern time and 10 p.m. Eastern time. So for those of you that are in Barbados, or if you're on the AST time, right? Obviously, these will take place 1 hour later. So if it's 9 p.m. EST, then that means that it will be 10 p.m. AST, right? For those in Barbados. So I just want that when you guys are actually looking to trade, even the first thing, even if you're just taking signals from the signals group and so on, or from the products of the company, when you wake on the morning, the first thing you should do, you can do it from your mobile phone, you can do it on your laptop and so on. You should head straight to Forex Factory, right? You could even, some people actually download Bloomberg on their iPhone and so on. Look and see what economic news are going to affect the pairs that you're trading on that day. And if you don't understand news, then avoid the pairs that will be affected on that day. Right? So if you don't understand NZD, for example, you want to avoid trading NZD for that day. Right? If you don't understand, for example, we have cash rate on NZD, you may not understand how that would affect the New Zealand dollar. So what you would do is say, okay, I am going to trade all other majors that is not including NZD, right? So that's just a heads up. That should help you as well. So please, because I know a lot of you guys forget to come here, right? Tomorrow as well. Let's go to tomorrow. Tomorrow is quite a heavy day, right? You have US pairs tomorrow. So again, if you don't understand or you cannot predict or you don't know how to trade fundamentals, just stay away from US dollar tomorrow, right? Stay away from the US dollar. You could trade GBP pairs, Euro pairs, JPY pairs, Chef pairs. Try and stay away from US dollar tomorrow. All right. Tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, you got AUD news, right? Employment change and then an unemployment rate. Now, let me just set the, I really want to set the mindset for AUD tomorrow night. Usually with unemployment rates and the employment change, the market for AUD goes 80, 100, 150 pips. It really goes, right? And it really, really, really goes. This call is for, I have a question asking me if this call is for beginners, intermediate, and advanced. This call is for everybody. Why? Because if you're on my call, you're interested in trading, you're interested in learning a strategy that can help you. Guys, I go through simple support and resistance, but from a key level, so you understand what levels you should be watching and paying close attention to. I go through patterns as well, right? Because I believe that this is the core of trading, right? In order to really trade effectively, right, you need to understand key support and resistance patterns that are forming. This would either allow you to decide whether or not the trade is going to buy or sell, right? And then entry price. So this call is for everyone. Good. So once you've checked the news, right, you guys could actually come and actually do some analysis on the DXY, because you should know that the DXY tends to tell you what's going to happen with the US dollar today, right? So the way how the DXY works, right? So if the DXY sells, it means that anything XXX USD buys, right? If the DXY buys, it means that anything XXX USD sells, right? Same thing again. So going back to the top, if the DXY sells, it means that USD XXX sells as well, right? So I'm just going to put this here for your notes. Everybody should be note taking, right? Everybody should be note taking. Right? So hopefully this helps somebody. This should help somebody. There we go. So this is key. So DXY, right? US dollar currency index. If the DXY is selling, then XXX, whatever pair is in front of the US dollar will do the opposite. Right? And if the US dollar is the base currency, then it will go the same direction as the DXY. Right? And the same thing for if it buys as well. Is this clear? Are you guys with me? If you're with me, type clear in the chat box. All of you guys should know this. You should know this, right? So if you've never looked at the DXY before, the DXY is just for observation purposes. It helps you to understand what could possibly happen with the US dollar, currencies affiliated with the US dollar or paired with the US dollar. It helps you to understand. So for example, if I look at this and I say, well, based on this, this looks like an M pattern here for me. So I am looking for this to sell to this trend line, right? And you guys will learn this. So if you don't understand that this being an M right now, it's okay. So if we say, for example, we could see an M pattern here forming, right? And it's going to finish here on the trend line. We don't know for sure, but that's our first target is the trend line. Then based on our notes, right? If we're looking for this to sell, based on our notes, anything that is XXX USD, we're expecting to buy, right? Anything XXX USD, we're expecting to buy, right? So let's look at that now. Let's start with gold, because I know a lot of you guys love gold, right? I know a lot of you guys love gold. So let's look at gold. I am looking for a buy on gold, and here is why. So we're going to go on the daily time frame. We're going to go on the daily time frame, and we want to identify key levels, right? So I'm going to take off everything. We're going to do this from scratch. Key levels, right? So first thing you want to do is try to identify a trend, right? Try to identify a trend. So you can zoom out, see if you can get a trend line in, right? Try to identify your trends. Some of you guys come on and you trade, you don't understand the overall direction that your trade is going in, right? And try to meet price. You want to try to meet price. So overall, if you guys notice, right? So let's look at this, and I'm going to simplify this as much as possible. We've been going in an uptrend since the 15th of August, 2018 down here, right? So from here, we've been going in an uptrend. And you can see that every time we went up, we came back down, touch the trend line, went up, came, touch the trend line. We moved far away from the trend line, so we knew we automatically know that the trade needs to pull back and test the trend line. Now remember that trend lines are also support and resistance, but it's more dynamic. Dynamic means that as the trade moves, then your trend line would move to suit with the trade. So as the trend moves, right? So if the trend had to, let's say for example, the trend had to, let me teach, man, let me teach. Let's teach here. So uptrend, right? Looking at this, draw your trend line, you would come from the bottom and bring it here, right? So basically, as the trade moves and create higher lows, you would move your trend line to suit. So that's why it's dynamic, right? Whereas support and resistance, you know, is something in the market that is already there. If you look left, you would find previous data in the market that will allow you to recognize that this was once a support or resistance a couple years ago, a couple months ago, and so on. So support and resistance remain as it is. Trend lines are dynamic because they constantly move. We create newer highs, we create higher highs. So new ones, like for example, gold had create a new weekly high a month ago. We create higher lows and so on. You draw your trend line to suit, right? I am recording this call. Good. For sell stop, so if we were looking for sell now, right? Right? So if we're looking for sell, your trend line now comes from the top, right? And you're taking the high. So just for the beginners as well, when you're drawing a trend line, you're identifying a trend line. Your trend line for the uptrend, let me just move this. Your trend line for the uptrend is drawn underneath, right? Your trend line for the uptrend is drawn underneath. Your trend line for the downtrend is drawn is above, right? So it's above. So that's how you work your trend lines there, right? So that's just an example for you guys. So coming back to here now, right? All you want to do is try to keep your trend lines as close to price as possible. So we can see how the trade actually moved away and came back, right? Now you can see how the trade moved away, right? Very far, right? Really, really far, and never actually came back to this trend line as yet, right? So we are not saying that the trade is going to get back to that point, right? Because we don't want to become persons who predict the market, right? By guessing. We want the market to set up and allow us to anticipate accurately the direction of the trade. So right now, there's nothing saying, yes, I'm going to come all the way here, right? But once we get to that stage and you see a correct pattern, then you will say, okay, well, this looks as though this is going to sell, right? So real quick, if you are on my team, can you please tell me what pattern is bull farming here in the chat box? Right? Because I know some beginners on here may not know. And they don't let me just put it to my team. Let's put it to everybody. All right? I usually tell my team to do it because sometimes they find it so hard to identify these patterns that are, so obvious to the eye that I have to always pick on them. So everybody, this question is to you. What pattern is gold farming here on the daily time frame? Correct. 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 Head and shoulder pattern. So you can see, so this is why I say, guys, when you are identifying trades, try to identify the trend. Identify your daily support and resistance. Because once you start to do that, right, you could then move on into patterns. You should not be trading any pairs that you cannot identify a trend, clear support and resistance, or a pattern that is in favor for the direction that you're trading for that particular pair. So if, for example, I call a buy on gold, you should see something that says buy me now, right? So for example, let's say that the head and shoulders actually was completed, right? So let's say it came out to here, came back up here, right? Do a little something, and this is the pattern that you guys saw. And I said, okay guys, we're gonna take a sell execution, or we're gonna do a sell stop on gold. You, the trader, you, the retail trader, should be able to come to your charts, identifying clear support and resistance, so you'll be able to say, okay, well, this is resistance here, this is support here, right? But this support is also my neckline of this entire pattern. Coach call a sell, or the takeover team call a sell, or whoever you're with calls a sell. You can clearly identify, right, a sell pattern. You can clearly identify it, and you can take the signal. But you can also say, look, whatever signal my team sends out, I may not enter the exact entry or the exact stop loss or take profit, but I will use signals as a way of helping me build my watch list for the week. So if we say to sell gold, you can say, okay, well, this lines up with my trend line here, right? So you guys know basic bounce back rules is when the trade breaks the trend line and the MACD crosses, you sell, right? But obviously, because I have transformed this call for you guys to actually become, master traders when you're trading, you should be able to say, well, based on this pattern, head and shoulders, I know that we're looking for the break of the neckline, right? The neckline being the support that you can see here. So this is the support of the right shoulder, the support of the head, and the support of the left shoulder. So therefore, I am not going to enter my sell, regardless of who said to sell no, until I get my clear confirmation that it has not only broken support, but it has broken my trend line. Like that. Everybody with me? If you're with me, please type yes in the chat box. Good. So, guys, again, the key is you all have the cheat sheet to become millionaires, But I feel as though we take trading to be more difficult than it really is. And the reason why is because we are not patient enough to do our own due diligence, right? So you know that in order for you to trade, let's say, for example, I was more interested in the sell for gold. For me, I will be entering, and you would find, I want you guys to notice that you would find some educators saying, okay, I'm not interested in gold for this week. I'm not interested in gold for the next month or whatever. And the reason for that is because they favor a better pattern that is still setting up right now that is going to come eventually. And guess what? When that pattern fully forms, right, with the patience, you can then catch more trades with less stress and less headache, right? Imagine getting a sweet setup like this on gold. Everybody waiting for this sell. And all you need to do is wait for that solid break, and you put in how much ever you want to put in. Whether it might be a standard, if you trade in with a $50 account, 0.01 or 0.02 and so on. And you can literally sell gold without having to watch it constantly, because the pattern has proven to you that it is going to sell. And that's the whole idea about trading. You need to be able to trade without constant headache. Headache means eyes on the screen all the time to see every single minute candle form. Headache means eyes on MetaTrader 4 in my phone every minute to see every dollar or 10 cent goes up in profit or reduces. All of that is headache and stress, and you may not realize that you're actually stressing out yourself because there's a lot of anticipation and anxiety inside of you that every time the trade goes into red, or it goes further into red, and you're losing money, you don't know which direction it's going to go, you start to panic. All of this is putting stress on you, and trading, we don't want it to be stressful, right? We don't want it to be stressful. People saying, Carl is here saying that his head is hurt. We don't want it to be stressful for you guys. So in order to eliminate the stress, only trade patterns that you can clearly identify with confirmation, right? So a lot of you guys like gold, and therefore every single time gold goes up and down every single week, you're trying to catch up by stock, sell stock, by market execution, sell, market execution. No, you're doing foolishness, right? I'm keeping it real. You're doing foolishness, right? Wait until the market gives you a proper pattern that you can identify and say, okay, well, this week, based on the patterns that the market has set up, I can trade these 5 pairs because I like how they look. Don't go into things that look iffy. You can't identify something. It look a little choppy. You don't like how it look. You can't identify. Don't do it. Don't do it, guys. All right. So, as I said, I am looking for a buy on gold. Right? I am looking for a buy on gold. So let's mark it up. Here's my trend line. Here is my daily. Let me just make that gray again. Here is my daily structure. All right. We identify both support and resistance. All right. I'm going to keep it nice and simple. So we've identified on the daily. We come down to the 4-hour time frame. All right. And remember, I said we need to identify patterns on the 4-hour and the 1-hour time frame. So if you have been paying attention to patterns, please name the type of pattern here for me on our daily support and our trend line. Please name the type of pattern. Everything isn't choppy, Ford. Please name the type of pattern that is forming here. You guys need to be able to see these patterns, and it clicks automatically, right? It clicks automatically. I see some people saying inverted head and shoulders. I see where you could see the inverted head and shoulders, but we want to look at the whole picture. We want to look at the full picture, yeah? Good. Right. So we have a falling wedge. That's what we have, a falling wedge. And a falling wedge is known as a reversal pattern, right? When you see this pattern, you know the trade is going to pull back. Yeah, especially at support, right? Means that this pattern is very strong. You should pay attention to it. Which is different to here, because I know some of you guys missed this sell last week here. Now, if we look, let me just put it around here. If we look here, right? Last week, I actually called it sell too. If we look here, you can see, okay, the market is being rejected every single time it comes down to this H4 support. But I want you guys to look and identify patterns, right? So yeah, we get a nice end pattern here, right? But But once we get the end pattern, you will notice that none of them look as clean cut as this. Look at this. So we're supposed to be looking for impulse, correction, and continuation, right? Keep it sweet and simple, right? We got nice head and shoulders here. The market came down, but every time the market came into this area, it paused. And then the sellers lose their momentum. However, if you look at how we came down to the market compared to here, you got a nice solid impulse from the top. Solid impulse, a nice flag, and then it was just waiting for that continuation, right? So same thing here now. We have a falling wedge. So this is why I'm looking for gold to buy, right? So what are we looking for? So for the conservative people, because I need to bear you in mind, conservative means that you are a beginner. So beginners should be conservative traders, right? Means that you like to play it safe. You're not going to be aggressive and jump in the market. You're going to wait until you get a solid body candle, right? You're going to wait until you get a solid body candle, breaking this our falling wedge, retesting support, and then continue to the upside. So you're only getting into this trade when it breaks both the trend line and the support area, right? So you could either get in on the retest, right? But you're not getting in until that breaks at all, period. The aggressive trader, right? You would have probably gone in here around once it had touched your support and your trend line as well. So you probably would have gone in here. You could also get in when it forms the right shoulder. So when you heard persons just now, let's go down to the 1 hour time frame. When you heard persons just now calling an inverted head and shoulder pattern, I want you guys to really stay in there. Right, let's do it together. Right? So now, I am not even looking for this to sell. I am not even looking for the right shoulder to be deep. I'm literally looking for the right shoulder to finish up here, and then boom. Right? So don't look for that right shoulder to be deep. As you can see, it is practically doing that right now. Right? And the reason being is that you want to identify your left shoulder support, and notice that is here for this right shoulder. So I'm not looking for this to have such a deep pullback. All right, so that's what I'm looking at for gold. I will send out that trade in my Telegram chat for you guys to catch that move. Don't miss the move. All right, it will pay you. It will definitely pay you. All right, NZUSD. Right, NZUSD. Now with NZD, what we had here was, you know, a type of falling wedge to into support, came back up to our, let's go to daily. Let's go here, actually. Right? So first thing first, I always identify my daily support and resistance. Wherever you could see clear reversal, daily support and resistance. Right? Come down to my 4 hour time frame. I then identified a channel. Right? So I'm gonna draw that channel over for you guys who are confused. And you can see that we're coming in an uptrend. Now you may not identify a channel, which is fine, but remember, drawing your trend line, that's key, right? You need to draw your trend line. So you may not have identified a channel, and that's okay, but at least identify the trend with the trend line, right? You don't have to be as advanced as some of us. Some people would actually come and say, Coach, I see a channel. You don't need to identify the channel, right? At this point, you just need to identify the trend. Yeah? So, NZUSD, I am looking for it to buy because we looked at the XY, so we understood why it is I am looking for NZUSD to buy, right? We are around daily support. You can see that the trade has actually paused. The momentum has slowed down. But what pattern can we see? What pattern can we see here? Somebody tell me what pattern is forming. There are two types of pattern. If you can identify it, call it. Because I can see something clear, you may be able to see something else. Anybody? Pattern? I'm literally showing you guys here. Anybody? Any letters in the alphabet? Good. If only. I felt like that one was a little difficult for you guys. Yes, so it looks like a potential W, right? So what you're gonna do is just identify the neckline and the W as a possible target for yourself, right? 1 hour time frame. 1 hour time frame. We're gonna look and see what happens. We're not saying for sure that it's gonna happen, right? But based on what I see, I can see a clear W forming, right? A clear W forming. And then we have NZ News. I am not going to send out this trade, but I'm just showing you that I like the setup. And the reason I'm not sending out this trade is because we have NZ News, right? So I'm not going to send it out. But you guys should be able to see what it is I'm looking at here. We're looking at this type of move. But we will see. Yeah. Anyway, USD CAD. All right. So USD CAD. So what am I seeing with USD CAD? First thing is we're going to identify daily support and resistance. You guys should know this by now. Do the ones that are obvious and then move inward, right? Do the ones that are obvious and then you can move inward. So for me, around this area here, I see a resistance and I see a support. Why did I choose this area? Because some people will say, what is Coach looking at? Why you can't see that area? Just look left. You see it here. If you bring it some more, you see it here, right? Daily resistance. Coming down to the 4 hour time frame, yeah? What type of pattern is forming on UCAD? What type of pattern is forming on UCAD? What else? Yes, we know the head and shoulders. Maybe you can more see it on the 1 hour, but right now I am not looking at that. What is the bigger picture you can see? Nope. Good try though. That's right, Ryan. Well done. A rising wedge, right? So you see that the market looks a bit overextended. These are one of those patterns that if you don't know how to identify it, you look at it and say, this looks a bit funny. It looks weird. I don't know what to identify. I can't see nothing in it. I'm going to leave it alone. If that's you, then you can leave UCAD when you see something like this, right? But as you start to really train your eyes into identifying patterns, then you'll be able to see something better, right? So overextended, currently at daily resistance, forming a head and shoulders pattern. That is correct, right? So if you wanted to identify inner support, so you will know, okay, that's the neckline there, roughly thereabouts. It's gonna bring out a little bit. There we go. That's the neckline. So conservative traders, right? You want to play it safe. So you get into the trade when it breaks our neckline with a solid body candle, or when it retests after it breaks. And then you take the sell all the way down, right? Aggressive traders, you can see that we're currently forming a right shoulder. This is where the aggressive traders like to get in a little early and take the sell with the right shoulder down to the neckline, right? Start to move their stop loss into profit, maybe secure some partials in case the pattern does not play out as much as we want it to, right? So you may see some people actually calling a sell from up here. I know a lot of educators call this sell, including Stevenson Lindor today. He called this sell for an execution. So again, aggressive traders can get in here. You can start to move your stop loss into profit as soon as it breaks the neckline, right? So my overall for UCAD, I would look at coming all the way down to daily support, but let's be a little more realistic. Around this area is where you're gonna have a pullback anyway, right? So you can start to look at structure as a way of identifying your take profit points. So for example, first take profit would be here, right? First take profit will be here because this is where the market rests when it was getting ready to make that last move up, right? So this is TP1. Second take profit would be here, right? So you're always looking at the areas where the market rests and create those valleys before it continued in its uptrend. How do you move stop loss into profit? I will need to tell you that after. I can't show you that on here for sure. All right, guys, so you know, so I'm gonna just put this here for now. So you know the direction for UCAD, right? So UCAD looks nice. I'm gonna post this in the Telegram chat. UCHEF, right? I wanna hurry up because I want you guys to get on, for those in Barbados, I want you guys to get on TTT tonight. So we already have our daily, you see. Once you put them, you probably don't even need to remove them if the trade is actually ranging in between the daily support and resistance. So I have this here a little while now, right? So coming down to 4-hour time frame, what type of pattern I'm seeing forming? I can see a head and shoulders clearly forming here, right? Basically, the head and shoulders itself is completed, so we're now looking for that drop. Coming down the 1-hour time frame, the beauty about identifying trends, guys, ladies, fellas, I hope you are understanding why we draw a trend line. Why? Because look, we have the uptrend coming here. It broke, but look at that retest. So when I say that a trend line can also be used as dynamic support and resistance, right? A lot of traders would have gotten into this trade on the retest of that trend line, literally. So draw your trend lines. It can't hurt you to just, yes, because obviously look here and see that this is an uptrend, but draw the trend line. Because as you start to get better, you start to tune into my calls more, you're following your educators on Go Live, right? What's going to happen is that you are going to become really good at your entries, right? And rather than taking a trade when the pattern is complete, you're going to start to take a trade from what we call wick entries, right? You're going to take it from the top. And that's when you start to become even more profitable, right? So ladies, fellas, draw your trend line, yeah? Good. Head and shoulders pattern. We got the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder basically completing or completed, right? If you want to know where the neckline is, the neckline, you can look for anywhere around. This one is a little tricky, so I will put an area anywhere around here, right? And where am I looking for you, chef, to go? I can be really honest with you guys so you can catch this entire move, right? I'm gonna be so honest with you guys so you can catch this entire move. I am looking for you, chef, to do this. Right down to daily support. That's a lot of pips. Pretty confident that it's gonna do it as well, right? And then I actually have it to continue all the way down here, but let's start here first, right? I'm pretty sure we will end the week on this support before we probably continue down to the next daily support, right? But again, the beauty about me showing you this is that you can now put this in your watch list and keep it there, right? For those of you guys who have been watching Stevenson on Sunday and he talked about daily engulfing candles, if you were paying attention to Stevenson, right? Daily engulfing candles. So we're looking for that sell, all right? Make sure you do not miss your educator's class. And GJ, let's look at GJ quickly. Let's look at GJ. So where are we with GJ? This one's a bit tricky, but we've identified a resistance here. I need to change my color again. So just change that color back to gray, right? So we have that. Let's take it up just slightly. Get those wicks. Daily resistance, right? Support around here as well. This one may be a little tricky for some of you guys to identify daily support and resistance. That's fine. Just look for the areas that you see major reversals, right? So, GJ. Now, what am I seeing here? I don't quite understand this, and you may not either, right? Which is fine. But when I go to the 1 hour time frame, what did Karen see? Remember, you would identify the patterns on the 1 hour and the 4 hour time frame. If you don't see it on the 4 hour, look on the 1 hour and see if you see any. Yeah. So what do we have here? What pattern are you seeing, guys? Let's talk quick so we can close off the call before 8 o'clock. What pattern are you seeing? Nope. What pattern are you seeing? What pattern are you seeing? What pattern are you seeing, guys? Kyle is telling you. Jamal is telling you. Yeah. Try not to think too much into it. It's right there. I need you guys to just look and say, let me try to identify a pattern. Don't just tell me a bullish flag. That don't help, right? Bullish flag don't tell you the direction of the trade. I can't see a bullish flag, but I can see a clear head and shoulders. And if you don't understand head and shoulders and you can't see it, that's fine. Use the cheat sheet, right? So neckline for GJ, around here. Yeah. Neckline for GJ. So again, aggressive traders, because I sent out this today, and the team also sent this out as well. Aggressive traders probably took the sell from the forming of this right shoulder, right? So now we're gonna wait for the break of the trend line. So if you are not in this trade already from the right shoulder, please do not enter now. My advice, wait until it potentially comes, break the trend line, and then sell. Yeah. So don't enter the trade now. Wait until it breaks. Good. So let me stop sharing my screen. Have you received value? Is this helping you? Is this reinforcing the information? Is the class reinforcing information for you? Fellas, ladies, how are we doing? All right, practice makes perfect. So we want to know that I want to know that you are receiving value from my class. I want to know that this is helping you to practice, right? Yes, we love signals. It is lazy trading. Who doesn't want to make money lazy, right? Right? Just from taking a signal. But I want you guys to become professional traders. I want you guys to be able to take a signal and say, look, let me add this to my watch list and actually go and do my own analysis and see if I actually agree with this buying or selling. Right? Don't worry about it. I know that you will feel lost for right now, but practice. All right, guys? Practice. So, if you have received value from my call tonight, please type pips in the chat box. Pips. If you've received value, let's go. We got some pips to catch this week. We got gold. You don't need to enter all of the trades. You can just get into gold. You can literally just get into gold tonight. Not well. When it gives you the confirmation, you can get into gold and that could pay you for the week, guys. You have some patterns, beautiful setups, a nice watch list for the week. Make sure you make money. Please do not end the week with a frown on your face. Guys, ladies, fellas, right? Thank you so much for joining me this week. I look forward to seeing you guys next week, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Please have a pitful week and God bless.